Y'all, we have some gardening to do today. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Roots and Refuge Farm. I had a crazy summer and did not start a lot of seeds, and I've been sowing seeds, succession sowing in the high tunnel for late fall and winter harvests. Here in balmy South Carolina, we can grow food with a little bit of cover over the winter, but I didn't start any of like the heading things. And while I'm sowing some from seeds, I just wanted to get a little head start by buying some plants. And the window it's pretty good size, you know, like I said, it stays pretty warm here over the winter, but it's really best to get your stuff planted so that it can acclimate as the weather starts cooling off, rather than planting it, you know, when there's a chance that it could have to face a freeze shortly after being put in. And with the weather and the aftermath of Helene this last week, I kind of just completely spaced and forgot that I was going to go buy plants. I think that's a first for me, forgetting to buy plants. Helen, we have a date, lady, let's go. But I took the kids out yesterday. We were just going to Costco. While we were out, one of the kids actually said, "Mom, I can't believe you're not trying to buy plants." And I was like, actually, I am. So I stopped and got 2 flats of those vegetable starts, and we're gonna go plant those in the high tunnel this afternoon, because I don't know about you, but I could use a little gardening. Give us a second, we're getting it ready. Just like I'm here. You're slacking. Hey, girls. Hey.
Hey.
What's your day look like today?
So they're saying that the 7th is the day we're gonna get power back. So when I heard that yesterday, I went ahead and decided to push my skills and learn. I'd gotten some information from an electrician, looked up some YouTube videos, felt confident I could do it. But essentially I backwired the house to be able to give us lights, get the fans moving, some things like that. So took care of that, which made things a little, just another step towards, I guess, easier.
Yeah.
I shot a video yesterday kind of updating farm chores and expressing, like, in this situation since the hurricane hit till now, just like triaging what was the most important. Like the sheep had enough grass to eat, so like I didn't like jump into rotational grazing. They were fine, you know what I'm saying? Made sure everyone had water. Like I should have moved the chicken coops, you know, based off of my normal schedule a couple days ago, but they're okay. You know what I'm saying? So like now that it's going to be that long, I'm probably going to go ahead and start prioritizing getting back into normal like husbandry systems. Yeah. Because it was almost like at first it was like, well, at first don't spend energy for no benefit.
Yeah. I mean, the first 2 days we were boiling rainwater, so like, I mean, we're definitely finding our stride. Yeah.
And I feel like I've got enough grip on things that we can get back into.
Relatively
I'm gonna get the
normal.
chickens moved. I got the sheep handled yesterday. Yeah. Hogs are good, so just stuff like that. Yeah. I don't know. I may work Josie in the round pen today.
Yeah, that's cool. Come get in your spot. Maya has the cows trained to put their right leg back. They step back, and if they don't, you just tap them and they'll step their leg back, which I think is so cool. So we are on day 6 post Hurricane Helene. We still don't have power here. And as Maya said, the electric co-op announced yesterday that our area was slated to be back on October 7th. So that's almost another week from yesterday when we heard that. But we're getting better and better at this. As Maya said, he got the generator hooked up to the house, which it's still very limited on what you can use it for. Like, we can't run the like stove top because of how many freezers and stuff we have. We can't like run the oven or the stove top or the washer or anything like that. But we were at least able to put the ceiling fans on, and that made a really big difference just overall in how the house felt, because One thing, I've already got it on my hands, thank you. One thing I noticed when I was out the other, I was out the other day, I went by my brother-in-law's house, and his house like 100 years old. So it has, stop, Helen. They know what they're doing when they do that. They use it to flick flies, but she knows what she's doing. That 100-year-old house, man, it breathes so good. It has these really high ceilings, and houses back then were built, obviously, they were not built for air conditioning, whereas houses now they don't breathe. They're so insulated to keep conditioned, heated, and cooled air in. That's one thing I really noticed in this, is that my house just got really, really stuffy, even with all the windows open. And we had a couple of battery operated fans to kind of keep the air moving, but being able to get the ceiling fans moving made a big difference. I've been troubleshooting that, like trying to think, because everywhere I'm assessing is, if I were in a position to be without power for long term, how would I handle it? And generators are great, but they take fuel. So anything that I can do that doesn't require input in that way, like fuel input, is definitely going highest on the list. So I'm trying to think of ways to really like help the house function a little better off power. Alright guys, it's actually the next day. I shot the first half of the video yesterday, and then I ended up just helping Jeremiah with stuff, and I did end up getting out to the garden yesterday. So today is day 6 of, we still don't have power, and I will say the thing I'm probably struggling with the most is just like trying to keep everything clean, but it's fine. I did get an order of house plants in, so I've been redoing a lot of the stuff in the house. I've been painting and working on some different things. I don't know if I've shown y'all this. Everything is a mess in here, but I'm not gonna apologize for it. So I like repainted my pan rack, and I've repainted in here. I haven't done this wall yet. I painted my bedroom and my bathroom too, which is cool. But like 2 days before the hurricane, I'd ordered some houseplants to put in my bathroom. And they came today, and it was like pre-hurricane me, bought post-hurricane me a little gift. I was like, treat yourself, girl. It was such a pick-me-up to open these lovely houseplants. I got lots of variegation here. I don't know, this made me really happy. This variegated alocasia. So good. So I'm actually having a little bit harder of a time today than I've had this whole time. Which is weird, because I do really feel like we've found our stride and things are getting easier. My heart is really breaking for the people north of us who are dealing with just a really heavy time. And I'm also just really tired. So I think it worked out that I didn't get to plant any plants yesterday, because this gives me so much joy, and I'm really glad I have it today. Plant delivery, planting vegetables all around. These are some of my favorite things. And so let's run down to the greenhouse. So I've had a lot of people ask me if I knew of any reputable places for people to donate to as far as relief for those who are dealing with just complete destruction and crisis. And I actually asked my friends up in North Carolina if they knew anybody, because I have several friends that are up homesteading in that region. And my friend Meg Holler actually said she was compiling a list. They just put a video out talking about places where you can help. I'll put a link to that. And also one organization that I do, like I've looked into and I've talked to a few people that I very much trust the sourcing of, is called the Cajun Navy. It's a civilian organization of volunteers that they are currently there. They've taken supplies, but they also bring into hurricane situations like flat bottom boats and go in and actually rescue people. So I'll put a link to their website also. I know that when some things like this happen, people really want to be able to be proactive, and it can be really confusing, because unfortunately a lot of times when disaster strikes, opportunists come out, and you know, I cannot fathom how anybody sleeps at night scamming people who are trying to give to people who've just lost everything, but it happens. And so there are some reliable sources you can check out. Here's an interesting thing. Everything on the farm, all the gardens, the fruit trees, like everything you can see, the hurricane wind came from this direction. Like everything is leaning real bad, laid over, and some things are starting to recover now, but you can still very much see all throughout the garden. Actually, let me show you this. I think it's started to stand up a little bit more, but all this okra, it's all like, it was all laid completely down. Some of it still is, but these winds were just unbelievable. I mean, it's not surprising it blew down 2 massive oak trees, but it's just shocking to wrap your head around. Whenever, you know, a week later I'm coming out here and everything's still just sort of bent. My boys were with me when we went and bought these plants, and I let them pick out the varieties because it's all more or less the same to me when it comes to like buying started plants. There are some very interesting things I love growing, but you pretty much have to start them from seed. So I let them pick them. Like I said, I want some broccoli, and there are like 4 or 5 different types of broccoli, and I ended up with Pac-Man and Iron Man broccoli. They got the Golden Cross cabbage. I guess they liked that name. It's just funny, when we were shopping, they were reading the names, so they were purely picking the varieties from the names. And you know, I can't really blame them for that, because I definitely do it too. So planting these all from started plants right now, I'll probably be harvesting cabbages. Let's see, it's the beginning of October. I mean, probably like 6-8 weeks from now or something like that, these plants will be starting to head. And typically what I do is I plant enough that I can start harvesting the heads small, and then I've got like a month-long period as they get bigger. And then there comes a point that you've got to get them all harvested, or they'll start to split. These are all heading varieties, so again, I can start harvesting when the heads are small or let them get bigger. And usually what I do whenever it starts getting ready is I'll harvest some and like cook it for dinner. And if it gets to the point that I need to harvest several heads at once, I'll usually just make something like a big pot of broccoli cheese soup or something like that that just uses a lot of it. But you can also freeze this pretty easily, especially if you're gonna like be cooking it into something like soup. It loses a little bit of its texture once it's been frozen. I got one little pack of kale. I very rarely buy started kale plants because you can grow them from seed pretty easily. I figured I would just get one package to put in the ground, and I'll just be harvesting kale sooner that way. But I've actually already got a couple areas with little sprouts of different kale varieties. I need to water these in. The soil's pretty dry out here, but I'll have to go get the generator onto the well pump to do that. Gardening is so awesome. It really does just completely lift the spirits. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like in my greatest griefs and my most tangly places, I've been able to get into the quiet of the garden and like get back to peace. It's so good. The thing I think has been the hardest for me today, the reason why I've been so deeply struggling, is kind of that thing of like coming face to face with the ugly of humanity. Because it comes out, you know, like some people are so heartless and so accusatory and just automatically assume the worst. And to be honest, like, my YouTube experience is different than a lot of my friends. I have a lot of friends who are content creators, and I'm the only person I know that like the grand majority of my views come from my subscribers. My channel doesn't grow super fast. It's never grown super fast. It's been pretty slow and steady and organic, with the exception of the period of the first few months of COVID. I had a lot of growth in, but for the most part, I mean, it's been pretty organic growth. And what it means whenever most of your views come from your subscribers, I mean, it really means that you have something of a relationship with the people who are watching you. Like, they know you, they choose you. They're not just flying by and watching 3 minutes of a video, leaving a mean comment and moving on. It's not like that. And this week, sharing this kind of thing, obviously, a lot of reach. Hey, if you're new, I am really glad that you're here. It just changes the dynamic whenever you're getting put out in front of a lot of people, because there's a lot of those flybys. And you know, that and reading comments on all the other stuff that's being shared regarding the devastation of the hurricane, it's just terribly disheartening, on top of the feeling of being relatively helpless whenever something so destructive comes through and causes so much pain in so many people's lives. I'm going to keep talking about preparedness. I'm going to keep sharing the simple joy of the garden, and, you know, turning on my camera and giving people 15 minutes to hang out with somebody, you know, and having the feeling of being cared for, because I genuinely do care for the people that watch my videos. I think you know that, you know, those of you who have stuck around. But sometimes when I get kind of a heavy dose of the ugly of humanity, it just weighs a little heavy on my heart. So I would really love it if you would share a story of something you've seen this week, which is the beautiful part of humanity, because I know there's so much more of that. I actually really do think that. I actually really do believe the good in people. I know I've seen so much of communities pulling together and people coming together, and, you know, so much hope. And even with this awful thing in the position that I've been in, and I've repetitively said this, I feel incredibly fortunate. I mean, we are very well equipped, and this has been testing, it's been challenging, but I feel like we've grown from it. But I'm very thankful for the opportunity for a spotlight to be put on preparedness, that I can encourage people, because I think that that could save a lot of people heartache in the long run. Today I'm feeling a little heavy, and that's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. I'll wake up feeling better. I'm going to turn the camera off and dive into planting the rest of these plants. And I'm going to take care of my tender heart, because that's what we have to do sometimes. It's okay to be positive and to think the most, but then sometimes have to take a slow down and be like, it's okay. I just need to process, and that's completely fine. But I would love to hear your positive stories, because I think that if we keep shining the light on the power we have to make choices, the power we have to be prepared, the beautiful power of community and the choice of each other, and if we keep shining the light on the good of humanity, I mean, ultimately that's what will be illuminated. So I'm going to get my hands back in the soil, because I think we all need that medicine sometimes. I bless you guys. Until next time.